national news tonight. Kenya and Tanzania agree to strengthen trade and bilateral cooperation. The government directs the Higher Education Student Loan Board to remove the 10% penalty charges on student loans. And in sports, Simba Sports Club captain John Boko says he is confident his team will win when they host rivals Yanga Sports Club on Saturday. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Khadija Zimba. First, the national news. The President of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, has met and held talks with her host, President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya, at State House in Nairobi, where they have both agreed to strengthen business and social relations between the two countries. Here's the story.
An Air Tanzania Company Limited plane carrying President Samia Suluhu Hassan and her delegation landed at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi earlier this morning as the President of Tanzania was about to begin her two-day state visit in Kenya. President Hassan was received at the airport by a delegation led by Kenya's Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Rachel Omamo and later headed to State House in Nairobi, where she was received by her host President Uhuru Kenyatta and the First Lady Margaret Kenyatta. Shortly after arriving at the State House in Nairobi, President Samia Suluhu Hassan inspected the military parade prepared by the Kenya Defence Forces, KDF, before receiving a 21-gun salute, a tradition given to visiting heads of state. After talks that lasted over 2 hours, the two leaders spoke to the press, with President Kenyatta hinting that they have agreed to strengthen relations between the two countries.
Tunataka tukuhakikishie ya kwamba taifa la Kenya na serikali yangu.
I assure you that the nation of Kenya and my government will be at the forefront in ensuring that our unity as East African nations and neighboring countries will continue to be strong and beneficial to the people of both countries. We will re-energize the Joint Commission of Cooperation between our two countries and our ministers to ensure that they regularly meet and resolve minor issues facing our citizens while doing business. As well as communication issues, we will strengthen from air travel, sea and the lake region zone.
President Samia Suluhu Hassan also acknowledged that Kenya and Tanzania are not only neighbors but also major business partners.
Kama mnavyofahamu, nchi zetu mbili sio tu majirani, kama nilivyosema ni marafiki na ndugu.
As you know, our two countries are friends and relatives, and due to the friendship that we have enabled to grow the economy. I have told my brother Kenyatta that in terms of investment in Tanzania, Kenya ranks 5th, followed by many other foreign countries, but in East Africa. First, it is Kenya, where it has invested 513 projects. But I made a promise now that in Tanzania, we will come to invest in Kenya to boost the volume of trade. We have agreed to continue to alleviate some of the challenges of non-tax barriers within our borders and then remove them. We have called on our cooperative commissions to remain resilient and provide solutions to emerging barriers.
President Kenyatta and President Hassan also announced that they have agreed to remove non-tax related impediments at the borders.
Lakini kwa lengo la kukuza biashara pia na uwekezaji kati yetu, tumekubaliana kuendelea kushughulikia baadhi ya changamoto, hususan vikwazo visivyo vya kodi ambavyo vinatokea katika mipaka yetu. Tumekubaliana kwamba hivyo sasa vikaondoke,
Ya kwamba tuta-re-energize ile Joint Commission of Cooperation kati ya nchi zetu mbili, na mawaziri wetu wameambiwa wahakikishe ya kwamba wanakutana mara kwa mara, kuhakikisha ya kwamba wanaendelea kuzingatia uhusiano wetu na kuweza kutatua shida ndogo ndogo ambazo zinasumbua wananchi wetu wakati wanafanya biashara kati yao. Tumekubaliana pia ya kwamba mambo ya mawasiliano tutaendelea kuona vile tutayaimarisha.
Kenya and Tanzania have also agreed on construction of a gas pipeline from Dar es Salaam and Mombasa.
Ili na ushirikiano wa kibiashara na uwekezaji kwenye mazungumzo yetu na Mheshimiwa Rais Kenyatta tumejadiliana pia kuhusu namna kutekeleza miradi yetu ya kimkakati, miradi inayohisi usafiri na usafirishaji wa watu na bidhaa, lakini pia jinsi ya kupata nishati, umeme au gesi kutoka upande mmoja kwenda upande mwingine. Tuna hiyo miradi mmoja tulishasaini mkataba leo. Tunachokwenda kufanya ni kusimamia utekelezaji.
Na hiyo itarahisisha bei ya stima katika nchi yetu na itasaidia pia kuhakikisha kwamba industry zetu zinaweza kupata pia stima na energy ambaye ni environmentally friendly katika taifa letu la Kenya.
The leaders also discussed strengthening of the East Africa community, and President Hassan also announced that President Uhuru Kenyatta will be the guest of honor in Tanzania's 60 years of independence celebrations. After the meeting, President Samia Suluhu Hassan also placed a wreath at the mausoleum of the late President Jomo Kenyatta at the Parliament building.
The Ministry of Education, Science and Technology has told members of Parliament that they will remove the 6% interest rate in repayment of higher education loans and directed the Higher Education Student Loans Board to remove the 10% penalty charges on loans starting July 1st of this year. This was revealed by the Minister of Education, Professor Joyce Naluchako, when tabling her ministry's over 1 trillion shillings budget estimates for the 2021-2022 financial year.
Idara na taasisi za elimu ya juu zitaendelea na majukumu yake ya kudahili.
Higher education departments and institutions will continue to enroll, educate, provide services to the community and conduct research, either to provide more opportunities to join higher education for students from low-income families. The government has increased the budget for higher education loans from 464 billion shillings in 2021 up to 500 billion in the financial year 2021-2022. The government will begin implementing a higher education project for economic development.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, pamoja na kazi kubwa.
Honorable Speaker, despite the great work that the Arusha Technical College has been doing, it is still experiencing dilapidated and inadequate infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, this Parliament has been approving funding for this college, but the funding has not been forthcoming. In the financial year 2020-2021, 1.5 billion shillings has been allocated to the college, which will help build a boarding house that would help increase the enrollment of female students, many of whom have been unable to join the college due to lack of accommodation.
Ubunifu tunaozungumza, teknolojia tunaizungumza, sayansi hii tunaizungumza.
Innovation, science, our technology should go further. Let's revitalize our technical colleges. We have Tanga Tech, Arusha Tech, Moshi Tech. Today, if you look at the environment of these colleges, are not the same as they were years ago.
Haifanani kama ilivyokuwa FTC zamani.
Opposition party Chadema's Women Wing, Bawacha, has called on the Speaker of Parliament, Job Ndugai, to oversee the country's constitution by not recognizing the 19 special seats MPs who were expelled by the party, as well as to respond to the party's letter that was submitted in Parliament.
Kwa hiyo kamati kuu nikiwemo na mimi Susan Limbweni Kiwanga.
The Central Committee, including myself, stripped of membership Halima and her group. We had hoped that once they were stripped of membership, they would stay home and wait. And once we'd received the referral letter, then they could appear before the Central Committee.
Kumwataki Speaker Ndugai.
The Speaker of the United Republic of Tanzania is breaking the Constitution openly because our Constitution doesn't allow a system of independent candidates.
Wanayo ile anaita kipeperushi.
Mkwawa University College of Education in Iringa has created a pesticide that prevents toxic poison in cereal crops, a discovery that will resolve issues on storage of the crops. The plant naturally is medicinal. What we want to observe is what components are in the plant that makes it medicinal, and then later on to be used in treating toxic poison in maize.
Na taasisi yangu ya NIMRI nimeona maeneo ambayo tunaweza tukashirikiana nao. We have seen areas that we could cooperate with Mkwawa. If you look at health research, all academics at Mkwawa are fully involved in protecting health of Tanzanians. Like one of the research where a herb that is used in traditional medicines was used in making medicine that is used in preventing toxic poison in crops.
Furahia sana hilo swala kwa sababu tunazo tafiti nyingi sana, tunao watafiti.
We have several research that were done in issues of relations to mosquitoes, animals, crops, and so on. The research will bring a lot of impacts in our communities.
Mazao na binadamu, kwa hiyo huu utatengeneza tija ambayo ni kubwa sana katika jamii.
The Minister of Tourism and Natural Resources, Dr. Damas Ndumbaro, has directed wildlife officers in Ruvuma and Lindi regions to ensure livestock keepers do not take their animals into forest reserve areas after livestock were removed from River Kilombero Valley in Morogoro and allegedly taken to the two regions.
Mifugo inaletwa kwenye mapori yenu.
For livestock coming into your areas, you must honor the law, confiscate them, issue fines and auction. But you must not do so to promote corruption. We have information on some of our officers who are not honest, who ask for money in order to allow them to cultivate land in our areas.
Kwa sababu tunajua rushwa ni janga la taifa na kinachofanya watu wajiingize.
Corruption is a national tragedy, and those who engage in corruption do so because of a lack of ethical practices at work. So one of the areas we look into is ethics at work.
Na mambo ambayo yanaweza kukwamisha utendaji wao mzuri wa kazi.
14 tons of rice from Mbeya that was seized at the port of Pemba on a sealing ship from Dar es Salaam has been destroyed by the Food and Drugs Department in Pemba after it got spoiled by water and became unfit for human consumption.
It is possible that the food came out safe, but the storage environment became very challenging. The first effect as a person can get is cancer, liver diseases, and other diseases. When food is spoiled, it is affected by toxins, and a human being eating that food can get the effects I mentioned.
And a wildlife officer in Handeni District, Tangle region, has advised residents in areas affected by elephant invasions to use various methods to address the issue. One of them being burning paper, as the smoke will repel the animal.
Kwanza nianze kwa kutoa pole kwa Mheshimiwa Diwani wa kata ya Balezi.
My heartfelt condolences to the councillor of this ward for the loss of the mother who was killed by an elephant. So far, 2 people have died as a result of these elephants. I asked the minister in charge of natural resources and tourism to send a team to come and take care of these animals and return them where they belong.
Lakini nimemuomba Mheshimiwa Spika anipe idhini walau leo tu nikimbie.
I have asked the Honorable Speaker to give me permission to come and join you here. Considering we are in the holy month, all that is happening, we should thank God for everything. I have brought food that will help my brothers and sisters.
Ili mradi tu kwamba niweze kujumuika na ninyi ndugu zangu. Na bahati nzuri au mbaya tuko kwenye mwezi mtukufu. Kwa yote haya yanayotokea tumshukuruni Mungu kwa kila jambo.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows next. International news. COVID-19 infections and death are mounting with alarming speed in India, with no end in sight to the crisis, and the top expert warning that the coming weeks in the country of nearly 1.4 billion people will be horrible. Here is more on the report. India's official count of coronavirus cases has surpassed 20 million, nearly doubling in the past 3 months, while deaths officially have passed 220,000.
On Tuesday, the Health Ministry reported 357,229 new cases in the past 24 hours and 3,449 deaths from COVID-19, with reports saying people are dying because of shortage of bottled oxygen and hospital beds, or because they could not get a COVID-19 test.
In the Democratic Republic of Congo, the security situation in Beni has continued to worsen after a sheikh was killed in a mosque.
He was shot when praying. We were informed that ADF was looking for him for a long time.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken had said that North Korea needs to decide whether it wants to engage diplomatically to find ways to achieve the denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. Here's more on the report.
Persuade Pyongyang to surrender its nuclear weapons program have stalled since the collapse of a third summit between President Joe Biden's predecessor Donald Trump and North Korean Kim Jong-un. North Korea earlier lashed out at the United States in a series of statements, saying recent comments from Washington were proof of a hostile policy that required a corresponding response. The Biden administration announced its new North Korea policy on Friday following a lengthy review.
And the border between Burundi and Democratic Republic of Congo is expected to be reopened soon in order to allow people of the two countries crossover and return. The latest developments come after a COVID-19 testing center was opened along the border, which has been closed since January this year.
After we realized that Burundi nationals were going to Congo through the Katumba border and transporting goods, the Commission has deemed it fit to open up the Katumba border, and that a center should be established as soon as possible so that everyone coming in gets tested. But we must allow for goods to enter and that Burundian citizens have a good relationship with the people of Congo.
And that is the end of international news. Business news follows next.
Tune in to Business Edition and meet business leaders and experts who keep you informed on business and economic developments taking place in the country, such as tourism, construction, energy, transport, mining, agriculture, communication, banking, real estate, and more. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m. only on Capital Television.
Welcome back, and in business news tonight. The Ministry of Agriculture has said that major investments on wheat and barley farming at Matadi Farm in Siha District, Kilimanjaro region, if implemented in other government farms in the country by entering into ventures with investors, will enable the nation achieve its target of producing 1 million tons of flour annually by 2025.
Wanachokilima kabla ya kulima wanakuwa na uhakika wa soko.
Before farming, they have to be sure of the markets. So far, investors have come forward to support farmers in reviving their farms and will be used for farming wheat and barley.
Vivyo na kilimo cha shai.
Angalau ikiwezekana serikali isiendelee.
If possible, the government should stop spending on crops that can be grown in the country.
Tunaweza kuyazalisha hapa nchini wenyewe wakulima na wananchi wa Tanzania.
The Union of Microfinance Service Providers in the country has called on the government to review the Microfinance Act of 2018 and its 2019 regulations by looking at the interest rate, which has affected provision of services and caused many microfinance service providers to close down.
Some do not have licenses. We are now calling on the government to give us support in cooperating with us because we are ready to reveal the unscrupulous people. They should reduce interest rates. 1 million loan has the interest of up to 600,000 in a year.
Rice producers, processors, traders and distributors in Gator region has urged the government to allow the commodity be sold in neighboring countries, as despite high yields, the rice they produce has failed to get a reliable domestic market.
I wish for the government to give education to rice traders on issues of quality by giving us TBS certificates. What we have to do is prepare our entrepreneurs so that they can reach the level of getting standard certificates so that they can be able to sell their products to international markets.
And that is the end of business news. Sports news follows shortly.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Marquinhos, he did lose some length.
Welcome back, and in sports news. Simba Sports Club captain John Boko is confident his team will get maximum points when they host rivals Yanga Sports Club in a Tanzania Mainland League match on May 8th. Here's more on the story.
Wekundu of Msimbazi have not won any of their last 3 Kariakoo derbies in the league. They have lost once and drawn twice, and with the 2 teams fighting to win the league this season, it is expected to be a close contest. With that in mind, the towering attacker expects a difficult match, but they have a good team capable of claiming 3 points. Last weekend, the defending Tanzania Cup champions came from a goal down to defeat Kagera Sugar 2-1 to make it to the last 8. Eric Mwijage struck for the Sugar Millers in the 44th minute, but Bernard Morrison and Medi Kagere replied in the 56th and 66th minutes respectively to ensure Mnyama advanced.
Tanzania Mainland Premier League side Biashara United have appointed Patrick Odhiambo as their head coach to replace fellow Kenyan Francis Baraza. Here are more details.
Baraza left for Kagera Sugar a couple of weeks ago. The Mara-based Chargers opted to go for the tactician who was serving under Nicholas Muyoti at the Football Kenya Federation Premier League side Kakamega Homeboys to maintain the tactical consistency initiated by his predecessor. The two had worked together while at Sony Sugar, and chances are high he might have been recommended by Baraza.
Jose Mourinho has wasted little time in finding a new job following his sacking at Tottenham, with the Portuguese set to take charge of Roma from 2021-2022 on a 3-year contract. Here's the story.
He was relieved of his duties at Tottenham on April 19th, with the former Chelsea and Manchester United manager failing to convince at a third Premier League employer. His stock remains high, though, particularly in Italy, where he has previously enjoyed considerable success with Inter, and a role as successor to Paul Fonseca at Stadio Olimpico is set to be taken on after committing to a deal through to 2024. In a statement released on the club's official website, President Dan Friedkin and Vice President Ryan Friedkin have said we're thrilled and delighted to welcome Jose Mourinho into the AS Roma family.
And Romelu Lukaku has claimed that he would fight to the death for Antonio Conte while hailing the Inter boss following the team's 2020-2021 Scudetto triumph. Here are more details.
Crowned in 11 years at the weekend, as his side were crowned champions in the wake of Atalanta's 1-1 draw with Sassuolo. Lukaku has made a stellar contribution to the Nerazzurri's cause, scoring 21 goals in 33 league appearances, and credits his coach for helping to take his game to the next level. Lukaku began his career at Anderlecht before going on to play for Chelsea, Everton and Manchester United, carving out a reputation as one of the most prolific strikers in the Premier League along the way.
Stephen Curry elicited gasps from the New Orleans crowd with a pair of deep threes that put the Warriors up by 20 and pushed his points total to 17 in the first quarter.
Curry's early surge was only the beginning of a 41-point performance. Draymond Green added 10 points, 15 assists and 13 rebounds, and Golden State took a big step toward locking up a postseason berth with a 123-108 victory over the desperate Pelicans on Monday night. The Pelicans often looked mesmerized by the Warriors' star as he dribbled along the perimeter before snapping off three-pointers or initiating clever drives toward the rim. His 8 threes included a pull-up from 30 feet.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. Thank you for watching and good night.